It's time to take your business to the next level, the boss level. These are the premier business owner strategies and successes being utilized by the industry's top talent today. Rock your business like a boss, a VO boss. Now let's welcome your host, Ann Ganguza.
Hey everyone, welcome to the VO Boss Podcast. I'm your host, Ann Ganguza, and I'm here with my wonderful, wonderful friend and guest co-host, Keisha Monk.
Hey, pretty girl. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm chilling.
That's a good way to be. I have to say, though, the last few days, like the weather has changed, and my voice, I literally got up the other day and I had to start talking, and thankfully I didn't have to be talking in the booth because I would need to warm up, but I had to talk to somebody on the phone and I could barely talk because I was so allergic. And I'll tell you, I think it would be good to talk about maybe some of our vocal health and remedies that we might have to keep ourselves primed and in great voice.
Absolutely.
For our business.
Absolutely. I have a ton of advice on that.
Well, first of all, I think warm-ups are pretty important. I know my body, I think it's very important to be body aware. And for warming up in the booth, there's a lot of times when I just run into the booth, and I know a lot of my people just run into the booth and they're stressed, their adrenaline is up there, and there's stress in every part of their body, and they are not performing, I think, as good as they could in the booth.
Right. I totally agree.
I think warm-ups are pretty darn important. And for me, warming up includes warming up all the area around my vocal cords. And so I do a lot of neck stretches, a lot of head rolls. I do a spine roll, actually, when I get up, and definitely warm up the area around my vocal cords.
Yes.
And then I do some of those, happy tongue twisters if I have to. Usually what I try to do is I'm talking to someone or talking to a client, and that actually serves as a good warm-up for me as well.
Oh, yeah.
But I got other tips and tricks. What about you when you're just getting up in the morning, Keisha?
Well, actually,
what do you do to prep?
I have an ornithologist, and she taught me this, and I thought it was so strange, and I can't explain why it works, but it just does. So I get a water bottle, and I fill it up all the way to the top. It's a clear water bottle. And then I take a straw, and I don't put the straw all the way in the water, but just like at the surface. And then I take a really deep breath, and then I blow, but I go... Into the straw, and where you're actually making bubbles. It helps relax my throat muscles. It just makes me relax. Again, it sounds crazy, but believe me, when you do it, it just helps.
No, they actually sell, I believe, a straw kit. Now it's going to make me crazy until I actually, because I had some of my students talking about it the other day, but they actually sell like a kit of straws so that you can do that. And there's also that warm up where you're just, letting your lips relax and just.
Right, exactly. Yes.
That actually is supposed to be really good, and it is an initial warm up.
Absolutely, that does help. It helps a lot. So those are kind of the quirky things that I do.
So do you have allergies? Do they affect your throat or your voice at all?
I used to. I don't know. When you get older, like things change,
They say every 7 years your body changes.
And that's totally true. I don't have allergies anymore, but I do have a few things wrong with my back and my knees, but that's another podcast.
That's another podcast.
You know what I mean? But I'm blessed in the sense where I don't really deal with a lot of seasonal allergies. If I do experience it every once in a while, they're usually nasal. They're nasal, and I deal with a lot of congestion, which of course can affect your voice. But
absolutely, that's the worst thing. That's the worst thing is to be nasal, and that's maybe if you're recovering from a cold. But I do know that for my allergies, I definitely have to just be aware. Okay, today is an allergy day. For me, I don't have a lot of runniness.
Right.
I shouldn't say outward runniness. Maybe this is TMI. But I will have more, will more than likely have a postnasal drip versus me having my nose running, where I have to, blow my nose all the time. So it's good and it's bad in a way, because the postnasal drip it kind of coats your vocal cords so that it can be a little, how shall I say, gummy. And so I really want to make sure there's a clear path. So I actually, many years ago, created my own vocal throat spray from some essential oils.
Nice.
That my husband kind of got into these oils. They're doTERRA oils, and we just like them because I love the smell of essential oils. And after a little bit of research and using them, there's actually a throat spray that singers use some of these essential oils. So I kind of made up my own essential oil, and I've been selling it for, oh my gosh, I think 4 years. It's my vocal health essentials.
And why don't you sponsor your own show? At the end of each show, you should be plugging that. What is wrong with you?
My vocal throat spray. So I love my vocal throat spray, and I actually have a booth breeze too, which you want your, oh yes, that's right. So if you want your booth to smell lovely, to get you in a zen state of mind to have good performance, I have that as well. But my throat spray is
literally still have that bottle. You gave me one a couple of years ago. It's in a blue bottle. I have it right here. I'm not lying.
Right. So, yeah. So, and of course, I won't spend the entire podcast trying to sell my vocal spray, but I will say that for anybody that's experienced essential oils, I can make no claims that they will cure anything. However, they certainly do help when I have a scratchy allergy throat, raspy throat. I have a lot of people that, come back time and time again to buy it, saying that it really helps them when they do video game work or character work. If they're straining their vocal cords a lot, it will really help to soothe it. Because
and you probably think I'm lying, but I really, really do. It says VO Booth Breeze. It's peppermint, spearmint, lavender, lemongrass, eucalyptus, and distilled water.
There you go. So that stuff doesn't go bad. So, and that's interesting because I did probably give that to you.
You did
more than 2 years ago, right?
I still have it. It's sitting right here.
Wow. Well, good. You can spray it in your booth, and we can be zen.
Yes.
So one thing that I have too that's very important is you have an ornithologist. I have an ENT that I go to religiously. I go every 3 months. Mm-hmm. I go every 3 months. Mostly he's checking my ears because I had an issue with my ear where I perforated my eardrum many, many years ago. And so I also have very tiny ear canals, like little tiny baby. As a matter of fact, they have to use pediatric.
Are you serious?
Now you know everything. They have to use pediatric tools to look at my ears. Yeah, so wow. I don't know why my ears are so tiny and my canals are so tiny, but they get filled up with wax. And of course, not only do I need to be able to voice properly, but I need to be able to hear properly. So I'm continually getting my ears checked and my ears cleaned by my ENT. And if I have any throat issues or ear, nose, throat, ENT, I have someone that I trust and that I love, and I visit regularly. Except during the pandemic, I'm not visiting him quite as much.
Right.
I feel, blessings to him because he's in really close contact with, patients that might potentially be, COVID. So yeah, that's got to be tough. But he's been a lifesaver for me. I mean, and it takes, for me, I have to trust my doctor because they're usually putting tools down areas, in my throat or in my ears, and that's just not a normal thing.
Right.
So while you're awake and conscious, because that's the one thing when you're ear, nose, and throat, you kind of got to be conscious for these things.
For sure.
They don't just put you out so you can forget about it. They're coming right at you with those tools.
Mm-hmm, for sure. I have an ENT also. Well, I had thyroid cancer at one point, and so I definitely have an ENT. But what happened with me was that this past year, over the political season, there was a huge uptick in the amount of work that I was receiving, and my voice just started to feel weird, and I became extremely concerned, and so that's when I went ahead and got me an ornithologist. And it's fascinating. She sticks things in my throat, and I see my vocal cords and how they work, and all kinds of crazy things.
What did she find after all that? You probably used your voice so much that there was swelling, maybe?
Well, she said that I was suffering from basically voice fatigue, and because what was happening was I was just talking so much. I wasn't really dealing with any where my voice was going hoarse or anything. But I just felt like I couldn't swallow. Like my muscles in my throat were basically overexerted. And so it was, she just said that I just need to freaking relax. That's all. Oh, and something else that she also told me to do is how not to ruin my voice is not to clear my throat full force. And in other words, when you feel phlegm in your throat, you're not supposed, even though we do it all the time, you're not supposed to go, you're supposed to gently remove that, clear it. And gosh, this is our tool. You have to take care of it. And so if the mechanic says that's how you keep a fresh engine, I'm going to keep that fresh engine.
Well, what's so interesting is that, given the pandemic and the mask wearing and stuff like that, it wasn't really a big adjustment for me because, even before the pandemic, I was very cautious. Like all of a sudden it became, oh my goodness, this is my tool, this is my business, and now I have to make sure that I really take care of it. So anytime my husband would go traveling for business and then come back, and I'd always be like, practically quarantining because I didn't want to catch anything if he had a cold coming on. And so I actually was wearing masks on planes not so long ago before the pandemic because I was always concerned with, catching something like a cold because then it's like you're done. And as a matter of fact, what had originally caused my the fact that I had an ENT was because I got an ear infection when I was flying. I didn't even fly that long. I was flying from California to Vegas. And literally, when I landed, I felt like something was going on with my ears. And then I developed a head cold. And then I developed an infection in my ear. And that was what really, it was not a fun trip to Vegas. That's for sure.
Sure. Wow. But yeah, you got to take care of your gift. You got to take care of it. So.
I'd be interested to find out, because you were talking about how your doctor was saying you needed to relax your vocal cords. Did she have exercises for you to relax them?
She did, and I don't freaking remember. I don't remember, but she did. I mean, really, she honestly gave me like a list of things to do. The exercise that I was talking about earlier, it was just an exercise with regards to, warming up your vocal cords. But yeah, there are a ton of things that she has told me to do with regards to how to help relax. And they have helped because sometimes I feel like my throat is literally locking up. Like it's difficult for me to swallow. I know it sounds crazy, but that is a result of having using my throat muscles a little bit too much. They kind of just lock up a little bit. But yeah, there are all types of things that you can do to relax those muscles in your throat.
So I know one other thing that I do when I get into the booth, outside of, remember I was talking about actually doing some physical warm-ups, like with some, spine rolls and some neck rolls. I also do breathing. I think breathing is so underrated.
Yes.
But I think, and I know we might have mentioned this in another podcast, but for me, Keisha, let's do it together. I like to breathe in through my nose for 3 seconds, and then I like to exhale for 6 seconds. So bosses and Keisha, let's all do this together. So we're going to inhale through our nose, not through our mouth, for the count of 3. And then we're going to exhale for the count of 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yes.
And then I do that a few times. Breathe in. And then exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And you know what also helps?
Really
What's that? Yeah, it is, and I think really I think that slows my heart rate down just a little bit. It just is making me feel relaxed.
Yep.
So yeah, that's true. That's truly effective to do the breathing exercises.
I feel that will relax your mind. It will
absolutely.
It will relax your body, and I can't help but think that that's going to also help to relax your throat, and it's going to put your breath it's going to put your breath support where it needs to be, right, in your diaphragm, and that when you speak, you may not be speaking so much through your. A lot of times, people will speak up here in their throat, and I think that causes a lot of strain. And I know that when I work with students to get them to just relax and breathe into their words, it really allows them a lot of power for delivering the material. And it's amazing when you're not afraid that you're going to run out of breath, how powerful your spoken word can be.
Absolutely.
When you're not afraid of running out of breath.
Absolutely. And it just really is a matter of just basically slowing down. A lot of times when I'm in a commercial session and there's a really, really long sentence because the copywriters suck and they really don't know how to write, even though they're copywriters, what I've learned to do is just take a deep breath.
Yes, the big
and
breath,
then
diaphragmatic breath.
Slowly, don't force it out.
Start. Yep,
yeah, and
exactly.
then just start. And it helps.
Oh my goodness!
Totally
yes.
helps. Yeah,
you can talk forever when you have a good diaphragmatic breath. That's for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
And people are so conscious. I don't want you to be conscious of that because, look, we all need to breathe. And if you're being live directed and there's a sentence that's unwieldy, you're going to have to execute it as if it's just a beautifully written sentence, and that is our jobs. And the better that you can deliver that sentence, the more, they're going to love you and want you back for, more jobs.
Absolutely.
And so if you have to take, everybody gets so conscious when I'm like, you take that diaphragmatic breath. I don't care. You take it. We're all family here. So you cannot be embarrassed or conscious of it because it's going to help you perform. It's going to help you do your job better.
Sure. I agree wholeheartedly. You're really spitting the knowledge today, Miss Ann.
Well, let me ask you now, do you have any drinks, any particular teas? I know a lot of people, really are into their teas.
I literally went out, didn't go out. I went and bought a tea box on Amazon. And I've never in my life even thought that, the tea boxes that they show you when you go to a restaurant and they want to show you that they have a lot of varieties.
Oh, and it's very elegant. Yes.
Well, I bought one of those elegant boxes because I'm like, because I really, over the past, I would say 2 years or so, I've learned to love teas. Decaffeinated teas. I've even gone to the extent where, yes, I have a wonderful array of tea bags, but I even bought like the actual like tea leaves and the little, I don't even know what you call it, the little silver
bags.
Ball that you put the stuff
absolutely.
in and you steep it. And I'm doing all like, girl.
I do that. I love that. Now we have to get together for tea, Keisha, because I literally have an entire cupboard of loose tea. And a couple of my favorites are, and decaffeinated is rooibos tea. Or rooibos tea. It's a red tea, and it is so good, naturally decaffeinated, super healthy for you. And that is like one of my favorite teas. It's great hot and it's great iced.
Yeah, and I love it. And what I also do, and these are things that I've just come into, my season. I buy lemons all the time. Lemons are really, really good. Honey is a super beautiful coating thing. I also have a humidifier to help me. And it's really uncomfortable, but every once in a while, especially if you deal with congestion and issues with your ears.
I know what you're going to say.
What? No.
Oh, with ears?
No.
Ears?
Well, it's all connected, right?
Okay, I was going to say, you're going to do candling for your ears.
No, not candling.
Okay, or neti pot.
No.
For your nose. Oh my goodness, what do you got?
Well, is that what it's called? I call it a nasal wash.
Yes, the neti pot.
Neti pot.
It looks like a little teapot, and you stick it in one nostril and tilt your head.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable.
The visual's really nice for that. But I'm with you there. I have one. I know a lot of people that have used one. My husband uses one every day.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I can't do it every day. He probably is. Well, he's Italian, and he always makes fun of his big nose, and I don't think he has a huge nose, but it's easy for him, like literally.
Right.
He's done in 5 seconds, where it takes me, tiny ear canals, tiny nose, it takes me 10 minutes to get a pot of water through there.
Wow.
But it does help. It does help.
It truly helps.
So you just have to be careful with the amount of salt.
I wish I had
salt, it might burn.
Maybe I can come to your house to do a group nasal wash because my husband is such a baby. He will not. He will not do it. He's the biggest baby with this hardcore exterior. So I'll just come to your house and we can all do it together. Yeah.
It really is helpful, especially when you're congested because, oh my goodness. Yeah. And that it really works for me a whole lot better because again, I don't tend to run so much as I tend to like have the drip, which is not as, it's not as easy to get rid of that. It's like a thick mucus. Nice.
Right. I mean, it is what it is.
It is what it is. Keisha, what are your thoughts about? I'm going to say hydration is super important.
Oh my
hydration at all hours of the day and night to really just hydrate, and so you can have a clear voice without. I have to say that the mouth noise, the clicks, the dry mouth. So that's what anybody talks about, right? When they're editing their own sound files, and it's like, oh my gosh, I have to get rid of the mouth clicks, and we buy the declicker, and all that stuff. Well, I have to say, a couple of years ago, after I stopped taking the medication, and I don't know if the medication for your cancer made your mouth dry,
totally,
but mine did. And when I finally was able to stop taking that, I just drank water. Like, not just water right before I went into the booth, but water all the time. And I find that my voice is so much better when I drink water all the time.
You have to get those 64 ounces, and it is absolutely necessary. As a matter of fact, that was the first thing that my odontologist told me before she even asked me what I was dealing with. She said, baby girl, are you drinking your water? Your 64 ounces of water. That is very, very important. Not just for voice artists, but just in general. Like, you need water to be healthy. So drink it.
So did she have any type of water that she recommended? Because I'm sitting here right now. I have my Kirkland alkaline water, which I didn't buy it because I said, I must have alkaline water. However, the bottle size is 33.8 fluid ounces. So all I need to do is make sure I drink 2 of them. And I love it because it's a big, long, tall bottle. And it just makes it easy for me to guzzle water during the day.
I get it. Yeah, my doctor didn't necessarily recommend one water or another. I just freaking fill up the refrigerator, the stuff that comes out of my refrigerator. And I have one of those half-gallon things, and I drink 2 a day, and that's it.
Well, I think no matter what you do, especially with water, like I find that if I feel like elegant drinking my water, either I have a lovely tall bottle of water, or maybe I put it into a wine glass.
When I want to feel elegant, I just do the tea.
Then I can drink my water.
I reserve the elegance for the tea, darling. I'll do a little
sometimes you got to fake yourself out to drink the amount of water that you need to drink.
Yeah, that's
what
true.
I say.
That's true. No, I'm with you on that. Yeah, for sure.
So, vocal health, guys, it's so important. You must. I think the most important thing for me is to become aware of your body, aware of how your body reacts to the weather, how it reacts to sickness. And what remedies you have. I think definitely keeping your vocal cords warmed up, not stressing them out. Any type of, I think tea can help, hydration helps, and,
also
take care of that instrument.
You got to be conscious. If you were a car enthusiast, you know what I'm saying? You love your cars. You just wouldn't go out in 30-degree weather and start that Jimmy up and start running. You take care of it. You make sure oil is already in it. This is your tool that you need to warm it up. You got to. You have to
warm it up.
Take care of them.
Yep. Good stuff. All right, Keisha, thanks so much for that input. I always love hearing how other people take care of their voices because it always gives me like a new little tip or trick. And I'll tell you can't have too many of those when you're taking care of your voice. For
truly,
sure.
Truly.
Big shout out to our sponsor, IPDTL. You too can connect and vocalize like a boss. Find out more at IPDTL.com. You guys have an amazing week, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Join us next week for another edition of VO Boss with your host, Ann Ganguza. And take your business to the next level. Sign up for our mailing list at voboss.com and receive exclusive content, industry revolutionizing tips and strategies, and new ways to rock your business like a boss. Redistribution with permission, coast-to-coast connectivity via IPDTL.